What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Reality Roundtable. I'm your host, Jonathan Brown, and today I want to talk about something that is not often that much talked about, and that's the idea of having fun versus having joy. Now, the topic of this episode came about from me listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And I know I'm only 28, and I know that makes me sound old, but I've been listening to Steve Harvey for over 20 years. And at the end of this episode, he was talking about how there's a difference between having fun and having joy. He talked about how having fun is something that is external and it's something that you're always chasing, while joy is having inner peace within yourself. And today, we live in a culture that's obsessed with fun. Fun weekends, fun trips, fun parties, and fun distractions. But here's a real question though. Why do we have more access to fun than ever before? And yet so many people in today's society feel so empty. So today, we're going to be breaking down the difference between the two, and why one fades and the other one sustains you, and how understanding this can completely change your life. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the episode. Fun is loud, while joy is quiet. Having fun is something that's marketed, but you have to discover joy. Fun is external, while joy is internal. And we're constantly sold the idea that happiness equals stimulation. Honestly, let's just think about it for a second. You scroll social media, you book that trip, you buy the outfit, you order that drink, and you upgrade your experience. Everything is designed to give you a dopamine spike. Fun is tied to excitement, novelty, pleasure, and entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with having fun. But here's the problem in all that. Fun ends. The concert ends, the vacation ends, the night out ends, and the party ends. And when it ends, what's left after that? Silence. And sometimes in that silence, there's a subtle emptiness. And that emptiness isn't because fun is bad. It's because fun was never meant to carry you throughout your life. But when it comes to joy, joy is different. Joy isn't loud, and joy doesn't always look impressive. But joy is rooted though. And joy doesn't require perfect circumstances. You can have joy during struggle. You can have joy during growth. And you can have joy while working towards something hard. And joy isn't absence of difficulty. Joy is the presence of meaning. Fun says, this feels good right now. Joy says, this thing matters. Fun entertains you, but having joy fulfills you. And when you understand the difference, you stop chasing stimulation and you start building something of substance. Have you ever had an amazing weekend and then you felt strangely low afterwards? That's not something that's random. Fun spikes your nervous system. High energy, high stimulation, and high dopamine. But what goes up must always come down, and the body will recalibrate. And if your life is built on only chasing the highs, the lows will feel heavier than ever before. And that's the cycle. Work hard, escape hard, crash, and then repeat. And this cycle really isn't sustainable. Fun by itself does not build resilience. Fun doesn't build identity. And fun does not build depth in your life. It does create memories, and those memories are beautiful, but they aren't a foundation. But joy, on the other hand, strengthens you. Joy grows through discipline, joy grows through purpose, and joy grows through alignment. Joy can exist in a quiet Tuesday morning. Fun usually needs a Saturday night or a Friday night. And many people think that happiness is a constant high, but emotional maturity teaches us something different though. Happiness as excitement is temporary. Happiness as contentment, that's closer to joy. But joy is steady, and joy doesn't need fireworks, but it does need alignment. So ask yourself, when do I feel the most grounded? When am I not hyped, not stimulated, and not distracted, but actually grounded? Is it when you're creating something meaningful? Is it when you're helping somebody? Is it when you're progressing in your purpose? Is it when you're deep in conversation? That feeling, that fullness, now that's joy. And here's the hard truth about that. Joy often requires effort. Fun requires access. And that's why fun is easy to chase. And that's why joy is easy to neglect. Now let's be honest. Joy doesn't always feel dramatic. Building something meaningful can feel slow. Working on yourself can feel uncomfortable. Choosing growth over distraction can feel isolating. But here's what's happening when you do that. You're actually building something internally stable. And you're also strengthening your emotional core. You're developing depth. Fun says, escape the discomfort. Joy says, go through the discomfort. And that's why a person can party every weekend and feel empty, or wake up early, work towards a goal, serve others, and feel fulfilled. One is consumption, the other is contribution. Joy is almost always connected to contribution, and fun is usually connected to consumption. And the more you contribute to your growth, to others, and to your purpose, the deeper your joy tends to become. Now let's pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I building a life centered on fun or joy? Do I feel restless when things are quiet? Do I constantly need stimulation? Do I feel low after excitement fades? Or do I feel grounded when nothing flashy is happening? Do I feel proud of who I'm becoming? Do I feel aligned with what matters to me? Joy isn't flashy. Joy is stable. And joy feels like peace with direction. Fun feels like energy without depth. You need both in life, but they are not equal. Fun should be seasoning, but joy should be the whole meal. And let's get practical. How do you cultivate joy intentionally? 1. By building meaningful goals. Not goals to impress people, not goals to post online, but goals to stretch you. Progress builds joy. 2. You can start by serving somebody. Joy multiplies when it leaves you. Helping someone else, encouraging someone else, creating something that benefits others. Fun is self-centered, while joy expands outward. 3. Practice gratitude daily. Building on my last episode, gratitude shifts your nervous system. When you intentionally notice what's good, your brain rewires towards contentment. Joy grows in appreciation. 4. Limit the dopamine overload. Too much scrolling on social media and the internet, too much stimulation, and too much constant entertainment. It numbs your ability to experience subtle joy. Silence strengthens your joy. And 5, align with your values. Joy comes when your actions match your beliefs, when there's no internal conflict, when you're not pretending to be somebody else or something that doesn't align with you, and when you're not performing. Alignment breeds joy. And here's the bigger picture. Fun fills moments. Joy builds lives. Fun creates snapshots. Joy creates legacy. At the end of your life, you won't measure how many fun nights you had, but you will measure who you became, who you impacted, what you built, and what mattered in life. Fun is part of a good life, but joy is the foundation to the meaningful one. You don't have to eliminate having fun in your life. Just don't mistake it for fulfillment. And you don't have to reject pleasure. Just don't depend on it for your purpose. The people who radiate peace aren't always the loudest in the room. They're just the most aligned. They've learned that joy is deeper than excitement, and deeper always lasts longer. And if you're still here, that means something that I've said in this episode resonated with you. Because this conversation isn't flashy, and it isn't about hype. It's not 10 quick steps to feel amazing instantly. It's slower and it's more intentional because joy lives in depth. So let's go even deeper. Here's something uncomfortable. Some people don't actually want joy. They want intensity. They want chaos. They want drama. And they want unpredictability. But why though? Because intensity feels like aliveness. But intensity isn't the same thing as fulfillment. You can feel wildly alive in toxic cycles. You can feel adrenaline in unstable relationships. You can feel excitement in risky behavior. But honestly, ask yourself this. Do you leave that situation stronger or do you leave that situation more scattered? Fun and chaos often overlap, and joy and stability often overlap. If you grew up in an environment where chaos was normal, calm can feel boring to you, peace can feel unfamiliar, and stillness can feel uncomfortable. So you chase stimulation, not because you're shallow, but because your nervous system confuses calm with danger. Joy requires emotional regulation. Fun only requires access. And healing often begins when you learn to sit in calm without needing to disrupt it. So, let me leave you with this. If everything entertaining disappeared tomorrow, would you still feel okay with who you are? If the noise stopped, would you still feel anchored? That's the difference. Fun fills the silence. Joy survives it. This week, don't chase something exciting. Try to start building something more meaningful. And I'm not telling you not to have fun. Yes, please go have fun. But also choose joy. Because joy will still be there when all the fun stops. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with somebody who you think might need to hear it. And until next time, choose depth over distraction, choose alignment over applause, and choose joy over just having fun. I'm your host, Jonathan Brown, and this has been another episode of Reality Roundtable, and I will be back next week, Wednesday at 12 p.m. sharp, with another episode. Thank you, and have a great day.